All right, I see we have ad break, but I think I'm going to go ahead and start because I still need to set some other things up. First, as you can see, never mind. There we go. Yeah, I need to refresh this. And I need to grab a new, because of YouTube. The way YouTube does things, it's so very aggravating. All right, it's streaming properly to YouTube. Okay. The other day it was not working properly. It was sometimes systems just don't want to work. There we go. Okay, all set. I think everything looks good. Everything's looking perfect. Okay. Ah. It says ads are still in progress, so still have to wait. Almost done though. In the meantime, why don't we just go ahead and start actually? No reason why not to. So let's go ahead and start. Let's see here. Oh, and everything's good. All right, perfect, perfect. Let's begin. So pretty much what we were doing earlier was working on the documents. I've been trying to figure out a lot of the things to do. I've also been going through making sure that I remember things accordingly. Now, the main thing we want to focus on is writing up, because I don't really actually want to create a whole bunch of different connections for our database. So if you go here and you can see I have the GameFAQs connection, the Rom DB connection, and then a bunch of other stuff. Now what I would like to do is, instead of switching between the different connections, which is what we do with the connect, I actually would like to switch between the different collections. Yeah, that's very that's a tongue twister, isn't it? The connection of the collection. But yeah, we have ROMD connection. I want to switch between the different collections and their respective database inside. So the idea would be we would have a collection for GameFAQs, a collection for romhacking.net, a collection for Moby Game, a whole series of collections of these different ones. Which means for our documents, particularly our base, let's see here we go, our base doc. Yeah, right here is actually what we need to be messing with. Now, I've been doing some research in the time. Hey, Ansel, how's it going? Right now, we are figuring out the connections and the collections of Mungo Engine. It's actually a bit wonky. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This might actually also help us figure more out about what we need to get done. Let's see here. Where is... It's always so difficult. Here we go. It doesn't... I don't see it. Okay, we better... Oh, Mr. Vampire. Yeah. Yeah, I do not see Mr. Vampire. So we need to change this. So here's our little thing here. So the main thing is about, as I mentioned, collection. So what we can actually do is we can define collections in the meta. And by doing so, then I can easily swap in and out the different collections that we want to save things in. As I mentioned, I want to have a GameFAQs collection, and I want to have a ROM hacking collection, and then the different websites. That's why we can parse out the data to them. We can then parse out the data that we want to as well. Now the thing is how do I make this code here dynamic? Because I know how to do it. I know how to do it statically. In fact, we did that earlier. If we go to our, let's see here, where are you? Here, base ROM. And from here we then head to, Well, yeah, right here, collection. We actually already set it up. This is going to be saving to the collection called Rom collection. And then if we go to our other field, I believe it's Rom docs. Oh, we're already here. Where are you? Where's the other one? Webpage doc. Yeah, here we go. Collection webpage docs. So we already have the collection set up. Oh yeah, that means my let's see here. Yeah, because I want to change the different collections. Actually, theoretically, that's what we need to do. We just need to make it dynamic. So the question is how do we make it dynamic? That's the big point. That's the big question. Let's... Oh boy. And of course it's getting all blocky. Okay, let me go ahead and start running things. First things first, let's go to our Mongo service. There it is. Mongo service. RomDB, alright. That way we can log straight in. So now we're in there. We're connecting. Our connection is... They claim our database is RomDB. If we go into here, there it is. There's our database. So I'm trying to split this and I'm trying to split these two right here. Because here it says these are collections. So next is database. So that's what we need to switch next. All right. I've actually been looking that up. That up as well. If we go in here, there should be switch database. That's switch collection. There's cursor. Yeah, apparently combining PyMongo. I need to make the setting of the databases and setting of the collections dynamic. Because if it's not dynamic, then it'll just save all of the data into a single database. And I would like to have different ones. For instance, this is the connection, which is called RomsDB. These are databases, and the way that Mongo Engine sets it up is that the connection and the database are the same thing. And then these are the collections right here. And so what I need to do is make the database dynamic so that I can save, this RomDB, which is theoretically supposed to be romhacking.net, and the GameFAQs. They'll be in the same connection, different database, same collection. So I need to figure out how to make these dynamic. It's actually, kind of. This is one reason why I'm getting a bit messed up with the terms, because they often say a collection is, it's a collection of documents. So that's what they're calling it here. But then sometimes you'll find people saying that the collection is here, which happens to be the database. I need to get it all situated. I just noticed that I need to move this so that it's out of the way. Let's see. Mongo host, client, my database. Okay, we need to switch database. So Mongo Engine connecting to MongoDB. No, we want to change our database. Yeah, this is where I've been running into a lot of problems. DB alias. I wonder if it would be the alias that might be what might solve our problems. There should be a switch DB function. Connect another DB, alias DB1. Switch databases right here. So with switch DB, we will... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some tests. I think I'm going to have to write a code here. I'll have to probably write a save function that will pass down, and what it'll do is it'll take in what our database is that we want to save stuff to, and then we'll just keep switching to it. Actually, I believe they updated Mongo Engine to be that you can just automatically switch it. You can switch the connection automatically. You don't have to use this with statement. Yes, exactly. That way I can have all the data being sequestered into the or kept nice and separated from each other. Let's see. Let's look up SwitchDB real quick and see if there's a way to call it. Oh, wait. What is this? Switch. All right. Oh yeah, Switch. That's the name of the game console. I don't want to get too distracted, but what is this? This SwitchDB. This apparently is a data repository. It looks like a rather empty data repository. Yeah, I think I can get all this from GameFAQs. We don't need this. All right. Ignore that. Ignore that. How to switch database name in Mongo Engine. Okay. Here we go. We add some methods. Here are the details. The issue isn't currently possible, but it will be looked at in 0.8. This was 13 years ago. Oh my. 13 years ago. Okay. That is quite long ago. Let's see here. Dynamically switch the DB. Here we go. They do the switch with the SwitchDB argument again. They do it with the SwitchDB argument. That's their document. The org is the... Let's see here. For org and orgs. I believe there might be. There should be. I remember someone commenting because I think where is it? This question here? Yeah, right here. Oh, okay, maybe not here. Yeah, right here. You can call it a group object and then switch collection. So apparently, I wonder, why don't we just do the quick check? Yeah, why don't we just do a quick check? It doesn't hurt. It never hurts to just do that. Let's go to Rom Doc. Here, yeah, we'll do Rom Doc. Rating system initialized. Missing position required argument. Rating list. Let's see here. Rating systems. We pull in rating system. The field name is rating system. I wonder why that's throwing an error. Okay, we'll block this out for now. Or actually, we know that WebDoc works. Let's just go to WebDoc. There we go. Now then, if I go to webpage doc dot switch, yeah. Oh, we can do it here. We can do it here. Keep created. Okay, let's try something. So why don't we go here? We'll call this will be webpage doc. We'll call this A. We're going to create one, so we'll just simply do that. Our ID will be, we'll call it hi. And then name will equal world. There we go. Then a.switchdb will send this to the database alias. Let's send this to Mahjong. And then, all right, so why did it complain? What's the complaint about? Connection alias has not been defined. Okay then. I see. That means we need to go to our connections. Where are you? Connections? There you go, Mongo service. Which means we need to set this up. So RomDB host alias. And we'll call this Mahjong. And we'll call this my connection 2. Okay then, now let's try this again. Let's see here, that's here. So switch the DB Mahjong A. Oh yeah. Okay, why did it complain? Connection alias Mahjong was not defined. How much do you bet I have to pass in my connection to? No, okay. I think you should first be connected. Yeah, I think I did connect it with right here. It's not defined. Okay then. Actually, let's see here. I'm going to change... So my connection 2 is connected. It's called Mahjong. Switch DB. We want to switch to Mahjong. There we go. Okay, and then I guess I spelled it wrong. I would not be at all surprised if I spelled it wrong. A.save. Okay, we saved it. Where does this set? Here's RomDB we're in. We switched to Mahjong. Let's refresh. Where's the refresh button? Here we go, refresh databases. All right. I see 86 here, so did it go to the very end? It did. There's high. Okay, yeah, that did not save in a different area. It works in Mongoose context something. Mongoose context. Okay, we will have to look that up. All right. You know what? I'm going to change the... Let's see here. Why don't I change this here to... We'll call this Mahjong. Oh. Oh yeah, this is already registered. We're going to change this, then we'll call this Pi. Alias is Pi. Database is Pi. I have a strong suspicion that I might not be able to do what I'm hoping to do in... Yeah, I might not be able to do what I'm hoping to do. So we'll call this Pi. And then a.save. Oh, make sure we get the V in there. Okay. So theoretically, we should have created a new database called Pi. There it is, Pi. Ooh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, there it is. There's Pi. And then we should have connection. There it is. Okay. That is exactly what we want. So, this actually tells me a lot. We need to set up the default connection so that we'll know what is our, what our connection is called. Because this is the big problem here, is the connection right here. So we first set up the default, which will be our connection, and then we start setting up adjacent connections to different databases, calling them collections, or calling out the different DBs and alias them. And then from aliasing them, then we can access it. That is great to know. So that means in our service, the first thing we need to do is set up the default connection right here. Let's see here. I think, all right, yeah, I can see it right up here. This is what our default is. We're setting up, so here's the generic one. We're calling it, we should call it temp. We should call it temp. This is the default. There we go. So as soon as we call Mongo service, we set up our connection based off of where we are. Then what we should do is, this is, all right. Okay. So from here, I think I was busy setting it up in base service. Yeah. So initialize database. Okay, yeah, right here. I'm thinking. Oh. Actually, let's see here. Web page docs is here. Maybe we should do a switch. I'm trying to think of the best way to sort this. Maybe if we write it, we draw it out. Let me get my tablet and start drawing this out. Let's see here. Here's my pen. Found it. Let's load up GIMP. It did work. That is fantastic. This pretty much tells us a lot of stuff that we need to know now. So now it all comes down to the architecture. How do we want to architect it? Personally, I would like to keep everything sorted in their own individual files. I think that would be the safest bet. There we go. Well, so this is the idea. Oh. Let me move this real quick. Hey, CodeBomb, how's it going? We're busy. We are busy figuring out all of the database structures, because without getting that set up, we can scrape as much as we like, but then we won't be able to properly parse it. So my idea here is we're going to have, so we have our connection, we have our database, and then we have our collection. It is the CDC. Oh no, it's the CDC. Quick, hide your research. They're going to peer review it. They're going to definitely peer review it and then question if we need more funding. Okay. So connection, database, collection. This we want to try and keep stationary. To do that, we need to set up defaults. So we just need to set up the default for that. And once we have that situated, we are golden. As for the database, this needs to be dynamic, because I want, for instance, ROM hacking and GameFAQs. I want these to be housed in their own separate database. And from here, these can hold a variety of different things. For instance, they can hold... I don't know why I do not know why they're barking. Be quiet. They're barking for some reason. Anyway. So yeah, and then here, these will hold the extracted data, parse data, and then the processed data. So yeah, it'll hold a variety of things. Yeah, the dogs are silly. And they're calmed down now. Apparently whatever they were barking at was fine enough. Now the collections, these should be static, actually. We want everything to be kind of stored similarly. So that means the only thing we need to really worry about is the dynamicness of the database. So if we want to initialize, we don't have to really worry too much about the collections, just the database. We'll need to set up a function where pretty much the idea would be when we want to... this is where I'm trying to think. This is what I'm trying to think. Because we're going to have our document. So here's our doc. And we will have to do switch db to save it dynamically to our database. So this will have to be its own separate function, and we'll have to call it whenever we call this one. So the question is where to store this function. Part of me wants to just throw it into our different documents. That way we can automatically dynamically switch it. But part of me also feels like that might be prone to error. What we should really do is, actually, I'm thinking back to the database that I worked on. When I was working in my previous job, we were using Mongo Engine, but 90% of the program was already set up. So because of that, I had to dig through to try and learn it myself. And even then, that wasn't enough to actually fully understand it. And I think I might understand now why he did certain things the way he did. Because one of the things that he would do was he would create a cache of all of the data at the very beginning. So what he would have is he had an initialize function. So it was initialize. Okay, initialize. And then from here, you would then input in a list, and we would put in like Rom DB right here, and then GameFAQs. And then what it would do is it would then proceed to create a cache of all of the data in there. And then whenever you interface with it, you would reference the cache. So you never actually would interface with the database proper. And then when you want to save, what would end up happening is you would have to, again, you have to initialize these databases and then just call a special save function. You would have to, it was built into he had a file it was called base service, and built in to the base service was a .save function. So whenever we wanted to save that, we would just simply do .save, and we would then pass in a list of all of the documents we wanted to save. So this would have this save done. And I think the reason why is because Mongo Engine makes it a little bit difficult to make things dynamic, and as such, his way of getting around it was you cache all of the documents from the different aliases. This way you knew what you were working with. You wouldn't have to keep switching around. I mean, we literally call switch DB right when we create the document. I think that if we wanted to, I wonder if we can do switch with the document proper. But yeah, he would do that, and then you create a cache so that we could easily interface with the data and collect what we need and process what we need. Then when we were done and we created a whole bunch of new documents, we would send it into to save document, and then here he would then run a switch DB and save it to the correct document. So that's what he was doing. That means I might have, if I want to interface with these different databases, we either have to we'll have to create a cache system in order to access the data, or we have to be able to create or interface with this data at the very beginning. So, okay, so we figured out. So it makes a lot more sense now what his code structure was set up, and why he was doing it this particular way. So my question is, can I dynamically change this? Because we can change the collection, but we can also add in an alias database here. For instance, I bet if let's see here. Actually, I don't think it's... All right, we'll put alias DB right here. And we'll simply call it pi. There we go. Now, if I call web document, so let's go ahead and call this. There. Oh, web page doc. And we'll go ahead and we'll create a new one. So ID will be equal, and we'll call this one, what should we call this one? Haha, we'll call this one haha. And the name will be haha world. Oh, okay, let me save this to B. Now if I do B save, there we go. If we hop on in here, go to the documents, we have, well, actually hi is right there. Where is our, all right, where is, we should probably hit the refresh button. All right. So that has hi in it. What about you? Is it at the very end? I bet it's not. I bet it's not. I see 86. And yes, it saved here. Okay, so it didn't save through the alias. It might be because the alias is not connected. What did I call the alias again? I called it... Let's see here. We called it pi. But I think I set up a connection. I think I set up connection pi already, didn't I? See, my connection 2 was, yeah, pi. So this should work. Because we're putting in the alias database. Unless I spelt that wrong. I should probably look that up and make sure. Okay, let's go check our database real quick. Let's see here. We will refresh this. There's a refresh button. 86 again, so yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, oh wait, where is it? There we go, okay. Yeah, it did not work. Okay, let's look up and see what the... Let's make sure that this is correct. Alias DB is actually what I need to type in. How much about something just simple as like alias? Okay, Mongo Engine. Where are you? Here you are, Mongo Engine. Okay, for our alias, it is called DB alias. Okay, it's DB alias. That should fix the problem. Okay then. Let's see here. So that's still 85, that's correct. And you have, yep, there we go. Okay. Now how do we make that dynamic? How do we make this dynamic? Can I put in a... I'm wondering, could I pass in something here? Does the... Let's try. Okay, let's try. What we're going to... Well, I'm thinking. Because it's about when we... Because this is a class method here. This right now is a class method that... though to be fair, when we create... This is when we create the document. So that means it's all the time. So why don't we try initialize method? Can I put initialization method here? And we'll call this the DB or DB alias. And from here, we're going to have to, let's set a constants real quick. Where are, here are core const right here. So we'll call this the DB alias. Oh. DB alias default. This will be a string. We don't want it to modify, so it's final. We'll call this default or temp. All right. There we go. Now we have that, and we have that set. Let's put in, this would be core const dot. Oh. Okay, there we go. Now let's grab our default. There it is. And then we'll pass. Now it's complaining. Why are you complaining? Call the initialize of a superclass is missed. Okay, the base class used to define the structure and properties of the collection. Wait, be quiet, be quiet. No, no, no. No, no, no. Come on, quiet. Shh, quiet. I swear. I don't know why they're barking, but they're barking. Let's see. And they're barking again. Okay, we'll try and... We will try and ignore them. Okay, let's see here. So we cannot pass in an initialization function. Okay. MongoDB collection, store documents created in a class using Mongo Engine. Subclass is the name. In class itself, Mongo document indexes are created for attributes. By default, CLS will be added to the start of every index. The default, So there's no dynamic, so I can't just, okay, so I can't just push this into, I just can't, every time I create a document, I can't just pass this in. All right, if that's the case, then, he's still barking. Oh my, still barking. Okay, okay. Let's see here. Okay then. Let me go ahead and turn the audio down a little bit. There we go, so it's not so loud. Alright, so we can't pass that in. So how are we going to set the defaults? Because I want this to be a, I want this to be, a default. You know what? We should type in. We should probably look to see if there's a way to dynamically do this. Otherwise, we're going to have to do what I suggested, which is pass in a data. We have we create our own separate save function and then switch over. Actually, while I'm at it, let's go ahead and set that up. Save. And then this will be the doc list. This will be a list of whatever the document's going to be. There we go. Then from here, we'll then simply go with for doc in doc list. Oh, let's see here. There was a with, if you remember, they showed us a with statement. Where is that? Here we go, with switch user. So that's the document to this as user. We then will, I see. We can call the switch. So here we go. This was the class method here. I wonder if that will work. We should try it. Let me go. Let's try that. So it'll be. Where are you? We want. Okay, where did that with statement go? Here it is, right here. So the document name is, so this is the documents. So they push that all the way in. So this is the class method. It has not been instantized yet. It hasn't been turned into an instance. What we do is we switch collection. But we want to do the same thing with switch. Here it is, switch database. Yeah, there is our class function. We switch the database, so we're changing the DB alias. We're calling that as it is, and then from here, I don't think that will work because here it's automatically creating it. What we want to do is switch it. That tells me that we should go ahead and go doc.switch DB, and then this will be our database. This should theoretically be our initialized database. So, all right, why don't we put that here? So this will be database name. Actually, this is a variable, so we'll keep it lowercase. Database name. Database, thank you. Name. And this will, okay, define. Once we initialize this, we'll pass in database name. There we go, and then self.database name will equal database name. There we go. And then from here, we take our document list. We're going to switch to the database name. And then from here, we'll then save the doc, like so. This way we can save to wherever we want to go. So we have it already. So that means we might need to, again, cache this thing. If we had to cache it, I'm thinking, because I know a way to cache the data. I know a quick way to cache the data. It would simply be, let's see here. This would be a class method. Or we could make it an instance method. I think either would work. We'll go ahead and go with we'll keep it an How about we go ahead and just write it first. Git cache. Then from here, we just simply will put in our database or git cache. This will produce a string of objects. Oh, sorry, this is going to be a list of objects, not a string. There we go. And then from here, we'll then type in, where is our... Oh, I know. We need to... This is going to be a bit dynamic as well. So another thing we need to do is we'll have... This will be the collection. All right. Let me go over here real quick. So this should be our doc, class doc. So we'll call this the class doc. And this will be a T. Now from here, we will go with class doc. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit muddled, but with class doc, we're going to go with, oh, let's go grab that code. Here it is right here. This. For this particular case, we can do that. So with switch DB, we're going to, this will be our class doc. There it is, class doc. And then we're going to change this to the database. In this particular case, this will be self.database name. And we'll call this the, if I called it cursor, would it complain? I think, because this is kind of what it is. We'll go with cursor. Then cursor.objects. There we go. And we'll simply return this. And this will be the cache. Actually, why don't we put the cache here now? We'll call this the cache. This will be a list of list of documents. Let's see here. Why is this throwing it? Oh yeah, base service. We're passing in doc. How many usages does this have? All right, we do not need to pass in document as a service. I don't know why we're passing doc in. I'm actually very confused. Why are we passing document in? I forget, but this should not be there. So instead of, we can return this. We'll call this the query. There we go. And here's query. And we'll return that as well. And then lastly, we'll have self.cache is equal to query. So that way we can pull out the query as well. We can return it as well as cache it. There we go. Okay, I think that will be the setup for the cache. So we can get our cache, we can create our documents. Oh, here we go. We need to get rid of this. Yeah, we're no longer saving is no longer going to be if we do that, it should be self.save. And then we'll pass in the doc. Actually, we should save that for later. Let's set it so that we only save documents to our database when we want to use them. If we keep automatically saving, then we might end up generating a lot of junk data that we'll have to clean out later. So we're only going to save once we are committed to saving. So now we have git create doc. All right, if that's the case, we can go to the query now. We have our cache. So I think the first thing we'll have to do is we initialize, and then we'll immediately call get cache. There we go. I think maybe we'll change this to find cache. Because we're not really, because this is going, there we go. This is actually going towards the database. So there we go. I'm going to change this to a none. So we're just finding it immediately. Once we set our base service, we'll find it immediately. And then from here, we'll then have another function called getCache. And this will return the list. And this will happen to be our good old friend, return our cache. There we go. And because of the fact that I don't want the cache to just be willy-nilly available, we're going to we're going to make it private. This way will force us to have to interface with the base service at all times. There we go. Okay then, now create documents. So to create a document, we marked call collection. All right then. In this particular case, it will be this, and we'll call this the class doc. This will create our document. We'll then put in our ID right here. I think I should start changing the names to IDs here so that it won't be confusing. And then we'll return this. And then get or, so that's create doc. Now get or create, we're going to have to go to our cache. Now because this is actually a query document, because I think actually I should probably, this is not technically, even though this is technically a list, it's actually a query element. This is a query element from Mongo Engine, and that's not it. DNS, here it is right here, query set, right here. So this is what it is. It's a query set. We should probably actually call it that, query set. There we go. This is very important because if it's a list, then we can't actually continue querying it. But because it is a query set, a Mongo Engine query set, what I can do is I can go into the cache, and then from here I can actually continue with the querying. So I can go, let's see here. I'm going to put down get or create doc, and we'll put ID here. There we go. This is going to return our doc. There we go. And then from here, so I think, was this where I remember query being put down? This might be where I remember query. I remember queues. I remember a lot of queues. Okay, let's see here. Let's go do a quick peek. Mongo Engine, query sets, query. There we go. Querying the database. So yeah, once we do the yes, we already done the object. Yes, we already did that. We already did that. Okay, can we get away from there now? Here we go, users.object. So now we have users. Limiting or skipping sorting. Okay, so we can do... Oh, custom query sets right here. Okay. They have filter. Anonymous query sets. Oh, awesomer query sets. So we import in a query set and then we can call filter. Okay. I wonder if it might be filter. Let's take a peek. I bet if I put filter, and then we'll pass in our query. So this will be ID. So first things first, this is going to be our doc. And this will be, there we go, T. Now, if doc exists, return, actually I should probably, this is probably going to be a length thing, isn't it? So if the length of doc, this is going to probably be a length thing, so this is going to be a list. Oh, or it could be a more query. We'll call it a, it could be more query, but we'll call it a list for now. But if the length of this is equal to 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to return the create doc function. Oh, we need to put self there. There we go. And then we'll simply pass in the ID from that. Now that's assuming that the doc list is 0. If the doc list is not, then we'll return our first element. There we go. Man, we're going to have to see about... We're going to have to start putting in about a bunch of logs in here. Let's see here. Now this should theoretically... We should head over to base docs. Yeah, we have this. Get or create doc right here. But we just moved it over to the base service. Yeah, we just moved this over to base service. So we might want to... Well, I'm busy thinking. I should be... Yeah, I call this once, but we might... Because this is... Because of the fact that this is a document, it pretty much does not know what a database is. So it's only going to go to whatever database that we have set. So whatever the alias is. So this class method, while useful, we might want to move it. And that's used 12 times. Oh my. So we're going to have to move this. It's in the web page services already. Okay, let's bring in base service. There we go. So we have base service in now. We have get or create doc, which is going to be based off of our database name, because we're going to be switching around. So this here, theoretically, it's overwriting it now. We're calling the get or create document right here, but technically that should be fine, because we have to switch it at the very end when we save. Let's see here. Get or create. We check to see if the cache is there. If it's not there, actually that might be the most important aspect about this. Actually, we've already cached. We have our cache right here. We checked. If it's in the cache, then go ahead and just pass it over. Perfectly fine. If it's not, we're going to create document. But it doesn't know where we're saving it yet. That will be at the very end when we actually call save. Now, in that point, we're switching to the database. So theoretically, it should be perfectly fine. So this is actually okay. We're still going to have the create document here. We'll be calling the create doc. I think... Yeah, this is going to have to get hidden. Let's go ahead and do that. I see web type. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. We'll go with super, and then we'll have get or create doc. We'll put the name in. This will give us our doc out. And this will happen to be this will be our web page doc. Right here. And then from there we can then save the file. I think that's fine. That makes perfect sense. There we go. That way we can still call it from the web page service, and we're just updating it from there. And we can also add in our type. Actually, if I recall, no, this should be fine. This should be fine. Sometimes it will complain and say that these right here are not the same. We'll find out. We'll find out. But all right then. So here we are. We're creating our documents. We are inputting it in. We're doing super.create. So we're calling the base service get and create function. So let's get back over here. we're doing a filter of the cache, and if it doesn't exist, we're creating the document. So that means the last thing we need to do is change the base doc. This right here, these two, we can hide and get all doc. Oh boy. Why, I have so many class methods that look like I don't need them anymore. And there's the save function. That's fine. The save is fine. But these class functions, I don't think I need them now because we're putting them in the base service. Okay. It says doc ID document attribute is read only. If I recall, it might be because of the, no, wait, that might not be it. Oh yeah, here. Create doc, create class doc, and we need to put the ID in here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we need to create it with the ID. See here, shadow. Oh, that's a shadow. All right. We'll call this the doc ID. That way we won't run into any potentially no shadows. There we go. Okay. Okay. This should theoretically work now. Let's try. Okay. So this might be where the initialization function will come in at some point. So first things first, we have ourselves a all right, temp. Let's go ahead and create our two connections. So this will be, the alias is temp. Our database is called, we're going to call this Rom DB. Actually, the alias here should be default, so we're just not going to have an alias. So we do that connection first. And then we're going to create one called Pi. There we go. So let's go ahead and run that. There we go. We have our two connections with our alias. Let's go over to web page doc right here. Web page service. This one. All right, here we go. Module object is not scriptable. Base service is not scriptable. What does that mean? What does it mean by it's not scriptable? Query T is not scriptable. Oh, I get it. Okay. It doesn't like that. It doesn't. What's the typing then? I figured it would have been. Okay, maybe it's. We're going to call it a list. It's not a list, but it's a query. We'll figure out the typing in a bit. Okay, there we go. So we have that. Let's go back over to our web page doc. Let's go ahead and run that. Base doc is not defined. Oh. Sorry, we want to go to the web page service. This one. There we go. Okay, nice. So now let's go ahead and do this. We'll call self. We're going to now create this. So self is equal to, oh, I just remember something. I just remember something. We need to define the initialization function. Yeah, we need to do this. Yeah, I forgot we need to define this. We're initializing here, and we need to pass this in. I'm going to copy this. There we go. And then we need to, we can still find cache. What we need to do here is we need to do super this initialize and then database name. There we go. That's okay. Let's run that. Self. We're going to go with web page service. Our database is going to be called Pi. And there's a none type error. Okay, why is there a none type error? collections class. Get collection. Attribute error. Oh, I know why. I know why. It's because of the another step we need to add in. Self dot class. This should be class doc. And this is going to equal web page doc. There we go. Okay, that should solve the problem. Let's rerun this. Yeah, we forgot to set that. All right then, pi, still a none type. Still throwing that none type error. How much do you bet? How much do you bet it's because of the... I'm setting that first. I bet it might be that. And there we go. Okay, it's a different error, but what is this error we're receiving? Connection failed. Connection with alias dot is not defined. Oh, what? It's supposed to be pi. Where did that come from? Is it telling me something? Am I being spooked by a ghost? Is there a ghost in my this must be the computer telling me something. I'm being haunted. It's telling me something very dangerous, and I better watch out. What did we set as our Mongo engine? No, it is pi. Pi. Our database, our web page doc. The alias is, oh. We need to change this. This is going to be default. Okay. Okay, we should just restart. Let's just restart our network. Okay, Mongo service, this, web page service here. Then we're going to connect these pi. There we go. Okay. Now if I do that, get cache, and there we go. Okay, unexpected error. Web page doc initialize. Got an unexpected argument. Auto converts. But why am I getting a web page initialized argument? I don't think I was. Yeah, oh, here we go. Class doc. Yeah, I wasn't initializing it. Let's see here. We're doing find get cache is supposed to be just, pull the cache out. Let's see here. Result, cache append. Self document from Sun. Convert false. This is a Mongo engine document error. Doc initialize got an unexpected key argument. Auto convert. I wonder what auto convert means. What is this error? What is this error we receive? I wonder. I see there's an ad. Oh boy. Ads are very annoying. Web page doc initialize. Unexpected keyword. Auto convert. But we didn't input in auto convert. We just passed in our class function here in order to start running with our data. Let's try something real quick. I'm curious. Let's see here. Where's web page doc? Here. I'm going to call this G. If I do G dot switch D, or not. Now let's go with this. With switch DB. Oh. With switch DB. we're going to go with, we'll call G, and we'll go with pi. There we go. Oh, and we'll call this as T, or not T. We'll call it P as P. P dot objects. And we'll call this R. And then R should be empty. Okay. So that should be right. I don't see where the problem here is. Here's our initialized database. We don't need that anymore technically because we're doing the switch function. So yeah, we don't need that anymore. Okay, let's go over here. Where's pi? Here we go. Actually, to be fair, it's not working. We should have two entries in here. We should have seen them. That's the reason why we're looking at pi. So that did not work. Let's reload that real quick. Okay, so run DB, which is a local. There we go. Web page. Let's go to ROM. Where are you? Not base service. Web page service right here. Yeah, it was this one. Okay. There. Self equals web page service. Pi. Self dots. And let's see here, class doc. There we go. It's our web page doc. Okay. Now if I do this and go objects, we get the error. Okay. So got an unexpected key. So web page doc initialization got an unexpected keyword argument. It's involving query setting. Let's go into, let's see here. Maybe it's maybe our service is doing something it shouldn't. Finding cache. Okay. I think that might be the problem. Let's do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and run this like so. Wait, was I trying to run find cache twice? I think I was, but all right, so we initialize first, and then we run that, and there we go. Okay. None type oh. All right. Always fun to try and be building these things. Okay, there we go. So now we have an error. No, oh, actually, it's in the cache. There it is. It's in defining the cache. So what happens if I do self.classDoc objects? That's throwing us an error as well. No, yeah, no matter what we do, it throws an error. Web page doc got an unexpected keyword argument. Autoconvert. Let's look this up. What does this error mean? What do you mean, error? What errs you? Yeah, what errs you? Why you err? Let's see here. Try to build list fields. It looks like nothing more than a normal Python issue. You've subclassed from embedded model field, but you've not overwritten the init method in your subclass. As a result, when you initiate the class providing arguments specific for your subclass, those are being fed directly to the base class initialization, which is then bombing out. At a glance at the Django docs, you want to override initialization and process your class-specific arguments and pass some generic common arguments to the base class snippet from the following below. Okay then, so here we go. Wait, does Django's looking an awful lot like MongoDB. Are they using the same stuff? I think they might be. Let's see here. Here we go. Initialize. So we have our link, like, linked by, args, kwargs. We then initialize our photo self with kwargs, args. We then add them in. That's all right, but that doesn't answer some questions. Okay, here we go. Web page doc. Initialize function is missing DB alias. Okay. Could it be because I deleted that? But that'd be... Alright, where are you? Where are you, document? Web page doc. Oh, right here. Okay, let's put the But DBA, by not filling it in, it should be fine. I wonder if... but that's a different error from the one above as well. Missing required positional arguments. How much DBS because we have two connections now. Okay, let's go ahead and put that in. Core const. There we go. There we go. That should solve that problem. Okay, let's go ahead and restart everything again, just so that we can get one error out. All right, two connections. Web service established. Create that. And here we go. Okay, now here we go. All right, connection failed. Connection with alias temp has not been defined. Okay, I think this should be default. Yeah, we should call this default. And I'm going to call the alias down here default too. That way my brain, my pea brain will be able to keep track of things. Let's see, where's the constants now? Here it is. We're changing this to default. Let's redo this now. There we go. And now, okay, here we go. We're getting that error again. Now then, if we go to web page doc, that's fine. That throws an error saying that there's a missing. This is now producing the same argument. But why is it producing the same argument? This is very confusing. I just put back in the position. I just put the argument back in. If we go to the... If we go to web page doc right here, it's right at the end now. See right there, DB alias. Unless it's, yeah, DB alias right here. So it exists. It's there. It claims it's missing a positional argument, but it is there. Right there. Oh, that's why. Okay. I forgot to delete that. That explains a lot. I forgot to delete that. How much do you bet that bit of code right there was just messing us up? Is everything was working fine and I'm just trying to fix a problem that I created myself. I would not be at all surprised if that's what's going on. Alright, let's go ahead and... Let's see here. Yeah, I would not at all be surprised. Let's see here. And there we go. Yep. It is working. Check it out. We have our cache. Let's see here. Let's get or create. And we're looking for our... Let's see here. We're looking for... I need to change this to doc ID. There we go. So here we go, and we're looking for haha. And there we go. Ooh, it is working. Look at it. Actually, theoretically, we don't know if this is the... Oh, we should add that in. Where's get or... Here it is. Get or create documents. Okay then. Logger dot debug. Let's go ahead and put in a logger here, and we'll say document found. Document found. And we'll put the ID here. Doc ID. And we should probably put down a database. This should be... Okay, doc list. Oh, that's if it equals 0. If this equals 0, that means it doesn't exist. So we should put the log here. Oh. This needs to be after that. There we go. And we should probably... I should probably parse this out first. There we go. All right, so there. Now from here, we then just want to get the... Oh, what was that again? Earlier, we actually found it. It was like something underscore something connection. I bet I will find it if I import in our logger. Let's see here. Oh, documents. Let's see here. From Mongo engine, import document dot underscore get DB. There we go. That's what we want. Get DB. There we go. All right, should we have that? Get DB. And I think from here... Oh. Let me guess. It's complaining because it's protected. Yeah, I know it's protected. Let's see here. We'll get... This will be DB info. And this will be a... All right, what is the... What was this again? What's the typing for this? Yeah, what's the typing for this? The typing is a database. Okay. So we'll call this database. And then from here, we'll simply... So db info dot name. There we go. There we go. So if we find it, we can input that. If we did not find it, then what we'll simply do is say document not found, or document not found, comma, creating new document. And then from here, we can, or let's see here. Actually, you know what? We should pass this here. We'll pass it into the creating the documents. And then from here, we can then, we don't know our database yet, but we'll just simply say creating document, like this. There we go. There we go, there we go. So now what we can do is we can call it. So we have our get our cache, create our documents, that, and then save. Okay then, so from here, if we now hop over to, this is our get or create document. This should be fine. I don't like it. The service right here. We'll have to put in other functions here for other things, particularly when it comes to querying and such. Actually, I wonder. For our base service, I just do a with statement, don't I? Yeah, with find get cache. All right. Why don't we go ahead and try and run this code a bit then? Let's see here. Our database is going, so let's yeah, let's do a test. Let's do a test. Base doc is fine. That's fine. This is fine. This is okay. For constant, we don't need. Mongo services, we will have to reset this, but instead of setting it up like this, we should start calling our Mongo service. We should start calling Mongo service. Yeah, we should start calling Mongo service. I think that this should be called at the very beginning, actually. Actually, this is where I should do the initialize. Let's do that. Default initialize. And then from here, what we can do is we'll take in a... Actually, we'll just take in a we'll take in a string. So we'll call this the alias name string. I'm thinking. Where should I put this? Because the idea is we're just going to do self.connect, and then we'll just be using the basics. We'll be using host, port. The schema will be... Yeah, this will be general DB. And then the alias. Let's see here. The alias will simply be the alias name. Oh. There we go. And that should be fine. That should be our fine for initializing. Where's our service again? Base service. This should be in the web page service. All right then. This will be the service connection. This is going to be a dictionary. And this is going to simply hold our... Oh, this is going to be some form of base doc. This will be the... We'll call this base doc. And then this will be type base service. There we go. And then from here we'll just simply type in web page doc. I want to connect them like this. That way all I have to do is initialize our... We just have to say initialize the document. And then it should be... Well, thinking about it, the way we set it up, it's not going to work that way. It's not going to work that way. We'll just start calling it in here. Okay. I know what we'll do. We'll do it right here. Base service. When we call the base service, we'll immediately set up a connection. So that means we'll have to bring in Mongo service here. Since Mongo service is going to be it's a singleton, so we should be perfectly fine. Okay. So Mongo service will be Mongo service. And okay, let's make sure let's move this up. There we go. We're missing the O in Mongo. Thank you. Yes, bring that in. We don't need that, but what we will do is we will initialize like so. Oh, let's see here. Let's see here. Let's go to Mongo service. Whenever we create a new instance, we have service, we call it, and then we connect, and then we return said service. This will ensure that we have a default. So this will always be the default connection. And because it's a singleton, whenever we call it, we will always receive our default connection. So from here, what we can then do in our base service, so once we've made our connection, we then establish what our name is. We will then go self dot Mongo service connect. And then from here, we can then pass in alias. And then we'll put in our database name. There we go, like that. That means we should also probably standardize our Mongo service here. Because if you see here, they're all not standard. So we'll put in host right now. Oh. Host, port, and then this will be the generic DB. There we go. And we probably should return the connection. I don't know why we would want to return the connection, but we probably should. Let's see here. Oh, this is getting quite lengthy. Quite lengthy. Okay, Mongo client. All right, there we go. So we're returning a Mongo client. There we go. There's our connection. We have it established. Get database. We don't have connection. Doesn't exist anymore. I don't think we need that right now. So, okay. Actually, we theoretically could just run. Yeah, theoretically, now that I just set up defaults like that, we actually don't really need to. I can just call initialize. I don't actually have to call something else. Okay, why are you complaining? Oh, that one. There we go. Okay. There we go. So instead, what we can do here is just call initialize. Base service. Initialize. We'll pass that in. There we go. So now we can, now whenever we call our service, we'll automatically initialize a connection for us. That means we just need to call it. All right then, let's go over to web page service. All right, let's get this set up. Let's try it. So theoretically now I just need to run that. And there we go. Nice. Let's see here. Let's go self dot. And we'll go, we want to connect to what server? Pi? There we go. It's connecting. I assume it's connect. Are you connecting? Are you crashing? I think it's crash. Are you crashing? I think it's crashing. Why is it taking so long? I think, yeah, I think it crashed. Let's see why. Why? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Timeouts. All right, there we go. It was a timeout error. Hi Mongo server selection. There we go. Temporary failure in the name resolution. That's a new one. That's fairly new. I wonder why. How much do you bet it's because of this? Because this is our first time actually running Mongo service. I actually haven't tested this yet. Let's test this first. Okay then, there we go. Self dot Mongo, let's just, yeah, self is equal to Mongo service. There we go. And then self dot initialize. And we'll simply go with pi. There we go. Okay. Oh, I spelled it wrong. I bet it might be this one. And nope, that worked. Okay then. I should probably return this connect. Well, we don't really need to return this. We don't really need to return that. The main thing is that it connected. But this worked fine. Yeah, it worked fine. So why did it complain? Especially here. I do see a potential error. We are probably going to have to register all of our connections because I'm looking at it and I just realized every time I try to initialize, it will throw the same error. So we should definitely set this. So let's go ahead and make the service. This is going to be registry again. This is going to be a registry. This is going to be a dictionary of strings with our Mongo engine. When we initialize, we're going to create our dictionary, or all right, there we go. Now, if, let's see here. If not, technically, because this is this is new. So yeah, we're going to first create a registry. There we go. Actually, I think because it's a singleton, we just can create it straight out. We don't need to define it. Now, if, let's see here. This is going to be default. So if default is not in registry.keys, which is definitely not going to be the case, we will then, let's see here, we'll then create a connection. We'll call this default con. There we go. We'll call this default con. Now then, default con, we will run this. Default con will connect based off of here. We will then store it in our registry. Oh. And then we will... Okay then. Oh yeah, pretty much we need, this is going to be here now. So if default is not in there, we create that. Now, if, let's see here, this should be, I think we'll call this name. I'm busy thinking. Now if string, because we have to set the default no matter what. It always has to exist. I spelled default wrong. There we go, okay. Now if name not in the registry, dot keys, there we go. If that's the case, then what we'll do is we will then create one. So we'll do the exact same thing right here. There we go. And this will be called con, just basic con. There we go. And then from here, we'll grab this one, put that there, and we'll return it. In fact, we'll return, and instead of just returning con, because of the fact of how it is, what we'll do is we will go cls.registry get by name. There we go. Perfect. So now every time we call this, so theoretically, we actually don't need to connect. Yeah, theoretically, we don't need to connect anymore. Every time we just call. Every time we try and create a new one. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. This is the class method. This is all the information we feed in. So when we call connect, this looks like a giant mess. This looks like a massive giant mess. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to move this out. Whenever we create a default, whenever we create new, in fact, we don't even need to return now. Well, no, we should return. We should return. yeah, the way I set it up. Yes, the way I set it up. Yeah, okay. I had singletons. I had singletons in my brain working fine, but now I kind of made myself forget how it functions. Typical of my brain. Because now that we have what we have here is every time I call Mongo service, if I just simply type in like self equals Mongo service, I do this, it will always run the new function. So if I call Mongo service and then I put in a name, I'll call it Bob, then it will run through the new. If it doesn't find the name, then it will kick it out. So I don't theoretically need to run connect or initialize. I could put a git, I could run a git instance or set a git instance. Let's see here. Now if I run self, here we go. Mongo self. Wait, what do you mean it wasn't? There we go. There we go. Yeah. So now that I have self. Actually, wait, did not produce anything? None type. Why is it returning a none type? I put in Bob. Let's see here. All right. I know what I'm going to go. Let's go. Since my brain has the consistency of pudding. Let's go reference a previous singleton and remind myself. There it is, animation tools. Because we created a singleton in this one as well. Oh, yeah. Has that been in front of the window the entire time? Yeah. I hope not. That would really suck if that was in front the entire time. No one could see what I was doing. Okay then. Alright, well that's kind of a bit annoying. At least part of the screen wasn't being blocked, but I'm going to have to figure out what to do. I'm going to have to figure out what to do about that. Alright, let's continue. Let's continue. Sequencer right here. Git instance right here. So this is how they defined it. Right here. This is their singleton. Let's just copy that. This is what I saw. This is what I wrote initially. We'll paste it here. There we go. So this is how we get our class and our. So if we do not have the instance, we'll then create it. Now then, we want to then run this here. Let's see here. We don't have animations. We do have default though. Okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of this new for now. Okay then, so if we run this, and if the name is not in there, and if default is not in the keys, we'll create default. So there we go. So default can okay, that should be it. So let's try and run this now. Self is equal to Mongo service. Okay, does self have anything? Yep, it's a Mongo service. Self.get instance. And then this will be Bob. There we go. registry. There we go. We have Bob and default. All right. Nice. Okay, so we're going to change this from get instance to get connection. Let's see, where is this being referenced? It is being referenced in the Selenium. Okay. We are going to delete that. Yeah, we're just going to delete that for now. Okay, then let's go back to our service. So this will be get connection. There we go. That it means that this is no longer needed because the arguments we can pass in. Though that being said, when we do, when it comes to passing in connections, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this, get connection, and we'll pass it into here, which will be connect initialize. I don't think this needs to be a class method now. This can be a instance method. Or no, this should still be a class method. This should still be a class method. In fact, initialize should be a class method as well. Yeah, these all should be class methods because this is all a layer above. There we go. There we go. Host, port, generic ID, alias name. All right, we don't need those. We just need the alias. And then for this one, instead of calling Mongo client, we simply call the class function. Class function, CLS dot get instance or get connection. There we go. We pass all of that information in, which means we need to pass all of the information in here as well. Oh yeah, so yeah, we're going to have to expand out our new inputs right here. Well, we have our quargs and our args. Maybe I should define out what the quarg. No, we should move this over. Let's move this over. Let's see here. Here it is, right here. So this will be name. We need to get rid of that. There we go. Now where's connect? Here is connect. So here, okay, so register defaults. Actually, we're not actually establishing a connection, are we? I don't think we are. We need to run this here. So yeah, we need to run this here. All right, so this will be con. Con. Now let's do that. Let's copy all of this over. There we go. Put that here, like so. I see that there's complaints. I wonder why. Wait a minute. Is it because of the connect is down here? Oh, I bet that might be it. We should probably, that might be overwriting. Yeah, that's creating a, and then we're doing, yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, I see what's going on. Okay, okay, that means I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, then. That means our connect here actually should be the hidden function. There we go. Theoretical, we don't need the registry anymore. Yeah, the registry information kind of doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because we're not registering connections. Technically, we can. That's what I was thinking about with the registry here, but this is registering all of the instances, not the connections. I'm going to create that here. This is going to be a list of Mongo clients. There we go. Now for here, let's see here. If we do not have the instance, all right, yeah, so this is how it should go. If we do not have the instance, we don't have to create that because we're already creating it here. Let's see here. I have copied and pasted connections. Okay. So this should be in connections right here. Then this should return our connection. There we go. This should be that. There we go. Default con. Oh, that's this. Default connection is right there, and this is a Mongo client. There we go. And I spelled default wrong again. There we go. It really, I have a strong suspicion that that's not a typing. Just calling it a hunch, because every time I complete it, it wants to put in brackets, like we want to initialize something. I have a strong suspicion that is not a client. Anyway, so here we are. All right. So with that in mind, okay, let's organize the code a bit. There we go. Let's get rid of that because this is talking about initialization, which we have wrote at the bottom. So the idea here is that we're going to call Mongo service, and whenever we do, we will grab the instance that is created. Now this instance will hold something called collections. This set of collection will be all of our connections. Now when we initialize, we will then add in that connection into our collection. We should probably add that in here at the bottom too. Con Mongo client is equal to CLS class method. There we go, and then here we'll then go with CLS dot. This will be connections. And this will be the alias name. And this will equal comp. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now we have that. If we initialize, we run this. There we go. We'll then go ahead and grab Mongo service. We don't have to worry about naming now. Well, technically we can do get connection. The name will be default. There we go. Now self dot. Actually, Actually, thinking about it, I should probably... This should not be a class method. This should probably still... This should just be an instance method. Because it's going to be a singleton, so wherever this wherever this goes, it goes everywhere. There we go. All right, let's run that again, or let's run this again. There we go. Self is equal to that. Self is equal to initialize. And then from here, we'll put in GameFAQs. And we get an error. Okay. Did not have initialize. I spelt it wrong. I spelt it wrong. Okay. And there we go. Okay. And then they were perfect. Perfect. So now we can set up our aliases this way. So with that in mind, all we have to do is call Mongo service, or we theoretically just have to import Mongo service. We can establish these connections. I think that would be fine. And then we can simply build our alias, so we can initialize where we want to be, and then from there we can then run it. So I was trying to set up the initialization in the base service. Here we go. This should work. Let's try it. Let's go to web page service. There we go. Self is equal to, where are you? Here it is. Pi. And we get an error. Okay, why do we get an error? Oh, new required a name. Ah, yes. Let's go to the base document. Where are you, base document? Base service here. Mongo service here. This needs to be get connection. This is a default, so we're going to call this will be the const. The core const. Oh. Let's import that. There we go. And then here, this will be the... There we go. Okay. Now let's rerun it. And it looks like it's crashing. Oh boy, why is it crashing? Why do I have a feeling I have to initialize it before I can run it? I bet that is the case. Okay then, if that's the case, we need to start here it is, main. Where's GameFAQs main? Scrapers, main, Selenium, GameFAQs main. Yeah, it just timed out. So we might need to do the initialization first. So let's do that. So our database is going to be GameFAQs, right there. Self dot, let's see here, we'll call this Mongo engine, or not Mongo engine, we'll call this the Mongo con. And this will be the Mongo service dot get connection. We're going to use the default, like so. And then from here, we'll then simply do MongoCon dot initialize. And then from here, we will run database. Now, why are you complaining? Introduced variable statement. Oh, I see. We don't need to do that. I think it might be because of the fact that I have... Oh yeah. I see why. We need to do this. There we go. Okay, let's try this. I want to let's start this first. And oh, okay, where is it? Where is it complaining? Is it here? Is it you? There's a list error. If alias is in connections. Okay. All right, all right. Where is this? There's okay then. No, no. Here. Connect. Oh yeah, I need to do that too. Okay. Since we also set up connections here, I need to also establish it here. I think we'll keep it simple for now. If, let's see here. If our oh boy. This should not be in the initialization function. It should be here. If alias name is in self.connection, yeah, connections, keys. Actually, we don't even have to do that. We just need to do a get function. If self dot connections get name alias name, yeah, if this exists, we'll call this the found con. If we find this, then we return found con. If not, then we will make it, and then we'll add it to connections. There we go. Now then, here it says that we failed to if alias in connections. Now where is that? All right then, this is the ROM main. Let's exit out of that for now, so it's not bothering us. Here we go, unhashable list. Okay. If found con is in self connections. But why is that not hashable? Is it a none? Did I put it as none? No, it's not none. It's a dictionary, so it should exist. Let's run this. Let's see here. Mongo service.get connections. Default. There we go. Self dot initialize. I bet that might be it. We'll call this pi. Nope, nope, there we go. Oh. It's because I can't spell. Okay, there we go. Okay. And it works. Okay, so I think that might be what we need to do. GameVax, Mongo service, get connection, that right here. We need to initialize this first. Which is what we're doing. That is exactly what we're doing. Okay. Let's try something. I'm going to just run these up here. There we go. Run that there, and there we go. Unhashable list. Okay, that means... Oh, that's why. It's because it's a string. It's because it's a string. Got it. I will want to do an initialization of all of my different databases. So we're going to make this a list. Or we're going to make this an alias list like I was originally doing. There we go. Yeah, let me sit here like this for now. Is a dopey ditsy dip for alias name in the list. Do that. Okay then, and now it's complaining about what is this a complaint about? Explicit return statement expected. Why? Oh, return found connection. I get it. So Mongo client. Theoretically, because we're initializing, this is going to be a none now. If we find it, it doesn't matter anymore. If we find it, we will just continue. That way we won't initialize more than once. All right then. I think this is good. This looks pretty nice. All right. I feel like this will bring a problem though. I'm going to put this down as a to-do, as a to-do. This might result in errors where multiple DB are open for saving, but all point to same location. So this is a potential error we might have to fix. I'm just thinking I'm calling it a hunch. Yeah, I'm calling it a hunch because I feel like this might be a major problem. So I'll have to solve this. But for now, let's go to the main. Let's run this. Let's set this up. So we'll be ROM hacking main and invalid set. Let's make sure it's equal. There we go. Okay. It looks like it's working. We should set up a function here. We need to log this. Logger dot. Let's see here. All right then. Logger dot debug. Yeah, we want to make sure. The last thing we want is to start setting up all of these connections and then not track them, especially in our logs. That would be the worst thing possible to happen. We'd be like, oh, why isn't this working? It's because we didn't log anything. We don't know. So let's make sure we log this. So we'll call this connection established. There we go. And we'll call this the alias is equal to, and this is just simply alias name. This is alias name. Since this is con, we can also get our, let's see here, let's also get the DB info. Let's see here. Get DB. I think that, let's see here. I believe that's correct. Let's see here. Let's go get the connections. Oh wait, Mongo service. Yeah, I remember that being a thing. Not just a few minutes ago. All right, why don't we, let's see here, self.mongocon.connections. There we go. Let's get game facts. Let's get the game facts one. We'll put it here. A.getDB. Database object is not callable. What do you mean it's not callable? It's a Mongo client. Oh my, okay. All right, so I see how this is going to be. All right, okay. I see how this is going to be. Let's see here. I'm going to stringerize this. And this might be good enough to turn this into a string and send it out. Maybe. I don't know. I don't like it. A.host. Host dot. Oh boy, it keeps giving me information. Yeah, it just keeps spitting itself out. All right then. I'm just going to stringerize connection and pass it through. That's not a good idea, but I figured why not. I'm busy checking something. My computer's doing something weird. I really don't know why it's doing that. I just see a flickering light. But I don't see where it's coming from. Oh well, okay. I'll find out later. I don't know why it's flickering. I just see it happening off in the distance. Actually, it's always around this hour too. Maybe it's something that's... I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out. It's something that's causing flickering. Anyway, let's continue with this. So there we go. We establish our connections. So we have that. Let's go ahead and rerun our code. Here, we'll run this. There we go. And we established a connection. Nice. We connected to GameFAQs. There's our hosting information. Nice. Okay. That is looking fantastic. Oh, that is looking extremely fantastic. So now that we're here... Let's see here. Let's go to web page doc. Or we should go to the service. Let's go to the service. And we'll go ahead and put web page service here. There we go. Oh, name, initialization name missing. Database name. Okay. Actually, wait, didn't we already do that when I just ran main? No, I just initialized the database right there, building the connection. So since I did that there, we theoretically don't need to do it here now. We should get Mongo service. Here we go, Mongo service. We don't need to initialize anymore. We just need, yeah, we don't need to initialize more. What we should, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. Or, you know, comment that out. And theoretically, we don't need Mongo service here anymore either, because we're not calling it anywhere. I mean, we are doing switch database, but we established the connection somewhere else, and that's kind of global. So because of that, we don't need to worry about that. So database name, I don't think we need to pass that in now, do we? Well, we do need to pass it in. We don't need to initialize, though. Okay, then. So, yeah, so that means we'll just put in GameFAQs here. There we go. Oh, why is there a lot of calls? I think I just initialized, what, 7 times? Why? That is very strange. I'm going to reset this. We're resetting this. We're running this. Oh. Alright, why did this... What did this do? Establish connection to GameFAQs. It might be because it's a class function. I'm gonna move these into initialize. Oh yeah, I'm gonna move these into initialize. There we go. Okay then. Actually, this is, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to put it initialized for now. Well, actually, I'm trying to think, because we might not be creating instances with this, because the main functions are going to be called later. Oh, okay. We won't put it in an initialization function. We'll keep it like this for now, but I'm watching you. I'm watching. We should probably create a main base function. Yeah, we should probably create a main base function which does all of the connection stuff for us, so we don't have to worry about it. I don't have to keep copying and pasting it in, because this line of code is theoretically going to go everywhere, and I mean it is going everywhere. So to do, move to main base. Okay. But here, we established connection. There we go, and it's already been established, so we don't have to worry about it again. So with that in mind, let's run the web service. Self equals web page service. And this is for our database called GameFAQs. There we go. Hey, Kieran, how's it going? Well, right now we're building the outside framework for scraping. Let's see here. Oh, and it's timing out. Why is it timing out? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to write the code up for scraping, because what I would like to do is have everything sorted out in these individual databases. Let me show you what it looks like, and then we'll figure out why it's throwing an error. So here's what I'm talking about. So I have a connection right here, as you can see. I have connections. This is what we use for connecting to the database. And then these are the separate databases. These separate databases are dynamic, as in these will constantly be changing based off of what we want to extract. We might want to extract data from romhacking.net, or we might want to extract from GameFAQs, or it could be like Moby Games. The main thing is that these are all the different databases or the different websites we want to extract from, and all the data we collect, which will be in these collections, will be static. So there will always be an extracted data, there will always be a parsed data, and there will be a processed data documents. Now, because of this, currently everything is static. In our database, this is not dynamic, it is static. It will always connect to our alias, which just so happens to be default. Or we called it RomDB. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to write up code so that we can switch our documents to be saved where we want them to be saved. And it will save to the exact database we want. So that's what we're trying to do. It's not playing nice, mind you, but that's what we're trying to do. And this is what the problem keeps happening. We keep getting a timeout. A timeout error. And I don't know why. If I run this, I'm going to set self is equal to we'll set it to the main. Oh, this is ROM hacking. We need to rename this. This needs to be GameFAQs. This is the GameFAQs section. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we set that. So now let's go ahead and run this. Like so. There we go. And then from here, if we go to web page service, if I run this, we'll go with self. And then we'll put in here that one. And it times out again. Now the question is why? Why is it timing out? Let's go to the base service. Oh, I see why. I see why. It's this. We don't need that anymore. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. We've already established, we initialized it earlier. So yeah, we don't need that. I'm going to just delete these. Actually, you know what? Instead of deleting these, let's see here. I'm going to commit first. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. We'll go into SRC. We need to go to these. This is a base service, so that means this is going to be in the core. And then we're going to, let's see. We want to go, we're looking for base service. There it is in Mongo. Oh. I need to remember the O's. And they want the tilde. All right, there. You happy now? No, you're never happy, are you? Thank you. Oh, am I spelling it wrong? Yes, I am spelling it. No wonder why. I am spelling it wrong. There's an S in there. Okay, then. Okay, then. We want to add in base service. And this will be a... okay, then. So this was add Mongo service to base service for connecting alias, or for creating alias connections. Okay then, there we go. All right then, we've committed that. Now let's go ahead and delete these. That way, there we go. Now let's rerun this. because we're moving everything out of there. We're moving it all here. The idea is that we'll make these connections here, and then the services can just focus on servicing us. And it's still throwing a timeout error. But we just removed that. Any other spot that it might be causing this problem? Let's see here. Why would it be throwing an error? Oh, here we go. Let's see here. PyMongo error. Service selection timeouts. Temporary failure in name resolution. So apparently it's this problem with the way that we're naming things. Auto connect, temporary. Let's see here. Failure in name resolution. Okay. What does that mean? Is it because of the way that I'm typing game? No, that's the same. That is the same as what we were typing in. Let's see here. Let's do that. MongoCon. Let's see what our connections look like. No, we have a default connection. It's called GameFAQs. It is established. It did connect. I don't see what the problem is there. Initialization apparently worked because again, our connection is established. It's right there in our connections. So this web service. So it has to be a base service problem. We're not finding the cache till later. Actually, what if that might be the problem? Yeah, what if that might... Let's see here. Let's load up web page doc. Okay then, get DB. So what connection are you? You happen to be default. So yeah, that is default. So here in the service, what happens if I call this one here now? Find cache. What happens if we call... I don't think web page service exists now, does it? Well, kind of. It's right there. But, let's see. Let's see here. I'm going to... So there's a main function. Alright. Can I do that? Find cache. Error, missing arguments. I bet it's missing self. Yeah, it's missing self. Well, that's because you didn't form a connection. You failed to form connection. How much do you bet? Let's try something. Here you go, web page service. We're finding the cache immediately. I'm not going to do that. Let's do this here. We'll do that. Now, get cache. And, okay. How much do you bet it's because I'm trying to run it in the initialization step as well? Because I bet now, if I go to self dot, I think it should just be in the cache now. Oh, I don't see any documents. Okay, why is there no documents? Let's check. Let's see here. Object type attribute has no get DB. And that is our web page doc. Hmm. Let's see here. Yeah, I know that the none, I know default has none, but this is why we have this is why we're doing this right here. We're switching our database to what our database name is, which happens to be GameFAQs. And then from there, we then run a query, we cache said query, and then that's the end of it. So this should, oh, why is this running? Oh, it timed out. That might explain the timing out issue. Let's do this real quick. Let's run this. Let's just run this code here. We're switching to GameFAQs. And SwitchDB is not found. Okay. There we go. And why you've... Oh. Okay, okay. There we go. Run. There we go. Okay, okay. And now we should run this code here. Query. Oh, it is throwing a temper tantrum. I wonder why. I am now very curious. It should be switching to GameFAQs. But it's now... Is it because there's no default? Is that why? Actually, that might... I don't know. Alright, I do know one thing I'm going to do. First, let's go back to Mongo service. Theoretically, the default is supposed to be alias. But in this particular case, I'm going to change this to Rom DB. How much do you bet that might be the problem? It might have nothing to do with my code. It might have everything to do with the fact that we're poking around in something that doesn't exist. You can't do anything if it doesn't exist. All right then. Okay then, we're here now. It worked. What's the cache look like? And it's empty. All right, why are you empty? Oh yeah, we didn't. I removed that. I removed find cache. Let's do that real quick. Self.find cache. Okay. And it's taking forever. So that means that's not the issue. It's timing out. I mean, there's data right here. This exists. This is what we're trying to go. Oh. I see the other problem. I need my braining. Let's see here. Rom DB. Okay. That's correct. Is it the same as our connection? Yes. Okay. So that might not be it. Our connections are right. Okay then, so yeah, our connections are correct. Let's see here. Temporary failure of name resolution. Let me look this up. Why does it say that this is a PyMongo error? Why is it throwing this exactly? I thought it might be because the name is wrong, and then I thought it might be because of the connection, but I mean, we're doing what they told us to. We switch, that's what we're doing. They tell us to use the switch statement in right here. Hey, welcome back, chat. But yeah, they told us it right here. Right here, switch. They told us to switch to the database, and then we can save it. And then here it is to get the cache. We switch to our database, and then we collect all the objects. Our database just so happens to be the name of our, our service. So when we call web page service, what the first thing we do is we initialize. We then pass in the name of our document, so it knows what our document is. It's going to be GameFAQs. Then what we do is we pass in our class document, which is going to be, this is the instance. And then from here, our base should have everything. It should have our class document, so we can start doing searches, as we can see here. And it should have the database name, so it should know where to look. So I don't know why we're getting this error exactly. I mean, I'm not even changing the ports. Oh, come on. It's not, wait, why don't you like this? Is it too long? The query, yeah, it's too long. Okay, we'll go ahead and delete half of this. There we go. Okay. This one. All right. The profile also happens. This problem is also happening in my stack. I had my connection string in the environment file to connect to Mongo Atlas, but the right way is to do this. That doesn't. That's okay. That's not why we're suffering from this error, though. That is the same error. The problem was happening in my stack. Okay, here. This happens to me as well. Make sure you start your service. My service is started. Unless it crashed on us, which I highly doubt, it should be fun. Just add the above code to your PyMongo or your Django settings. All right, why don't we do this? This should be working. Why don't we go ahead and disconnect everything? Disconnect. These are not, all right, now let's try this, reconnect. Nope. The engine is still running. It is not that problem. So, all right then, so that is definitely not that. Let's go, Let's see here, our Mongo service. I did not expect to be spending 2 hours and 45 minutes debugging a dynamic database transitioning. I figured it would be something fairly simple, and looking at it, it seems quite simple. So why is this throwing this error? Let's continue looking on the internet. Maybe there's someone else who had this problem. Or, hey, maybe Mongo Engine might actually have an answer for us. This error means that PyMongo timed out while waiting for a response from the remote server. Usually this means that the network issue between your machine and the database. Could you please provide a pip list and information? Could you try connecting to the shell? I have been connecting via the company Wi-Fi. Make sure that you've entered your password. We don't have a password. Is that why? Wait, is that why? But actually, I wonder. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something. Let's just go ahead and establish this connection here without using our service. Oh. So let's go ahead and run this here. Actually, I kind of already wrote the service. We have a connect function. Right here, connect. Am I overwriting it anywhere? I kind of was. I kind of was earlier. Okay, so here's our connection right here. Let's go ahead and run this. All right, we do not need alias. We do not need password or user. We will set those up later. Schema will simply be, let's see here. That's fine. Oh. Okay, that's not fine. Let's see here. Rom DB. There we go. So there's our connection. Now let's go over to our here. Not that one. We want to go to web page doc. This should be, yeah, the alias. Let's get rid of that first. Let's get rid of the alias. There we go. Now then, if I do that, dot objects. And okay, there must be I have a feeling it might be something going on because nothing is just no longer connecting. Even that way. Okay, I'm going to restart our server. I'm going to restart the server. Let's see here. So originally I did start, so we'll go with stop service MongoDB. Stop was not found. Okay. Where are you? We did it at the very top. Service Mongo start. There it is. Okay. Service Mongo stop. Failed to stop the service until Mongo service not loaded. Something weird is going on. I think it might, I don't know. I think it might have froze. I'm going to sudo this. Failed to stop until Mongo service is not loaded. Oh, all right. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? Let's see here. What do we add? So we, I'm going to restart the computer. If it's not going to stop, then I'm going to just restart the computer and see if that solves the problem. So let's see here. We add alias to, or add db alias to core const. To core const. Update base doc to work with services, update base service to, let's see here, we're going to update base service to switch to DB of interest, update MongoDB service to be singleton and initialize connections, and then update Selenium main to use initialize. There we go. Everything is done. Let's proceed to restart this baby. All right. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and restart this. Restart. There we go. Okay, let's wait a little bit while it restarts itself. Oh, I wonder why it was crashing. I wonder what was causing it to mess up. I have a feeling that I might need... It might be... It could be that I established too many connections, but I don't think that would be it. I really don't. Waiting for it to reload. There we go. That is one thing you can say about this little box. It loads up fast. Let's go ahead and get back into here. Oh. All right. Okay. Where are you? I remember you starting perfectly fine earlier. MongoD. There we go. All right. I missed the... Okay, I missed a couple things. All right, we have that set up. There we go. Let's go in and load up our PyCharm. Hi, PyCharm. I do not understand this. I really don't. I remove that from the list every single time. And every single time it complains, so I always... PyCharm, you confuse me. I might have to stop using you soon. Let's see here. Our projects. There it is. Open this one. It doesn't remember anything. PyCharm, do you have amnesia? Do you have Alzheimer's? You literally remember nothing. Every time I shut you down, you forget everything. Let me guess, you forgot the entire connection for the... Let's go check it out. Let's see here. In here, we'll go to settings. Did you forget the interpreter too? Oh, thankfully. It at least remembered that. Okay. Good, at least you remembered that. Let's go ahead and set up this. We are going to run our main here. We established a connection. We're going to run this here. Now we'll set this to web page service. There we go. We're loading up GameFAQs. There. Now let's get the cache. And let's see here. And it throws it claims it doesn't exist. Okay. At least it's not timing out. At least it's not timing out now, but... so many times I have to log in. Okay. GameFAQs. Documents. We have... Yeah, this is what we're trying to access. Pi. Let's see here. The documents should exist. We should be able to query it. Let's see here. If I just type in, let's just do this. And let's see, what about the objects here? And we're timing out. All right, so the timing out is not because of a connection issue. Oh, this is being very, very annoying. This is being super, super annoying. Host port generic. That's how we always connected. Temporary failure in resolution. Okay then. Let's see. If I remember, we did... Let's see here. That was just a Mongo service. GameFAQs. Oh, let's see here. Mongo service. Connections. There they are. There are the two connections. I see GameFAQs right here. Platform is none. Drivers, Mongo engine. Let's get this connection. Let's get this connection. Let's see here. Our document class dictionary. Mongo engine it says platform none. What happens if I just do basic connect? So we'll go with connect. We'll call this Rom DB. We'll just connect to that. Oh. Connect does not exist. There we go. Now do a basic connection. Failure. A different connection with the alias default has already been registered. Use disconnect first. Okay. So that means that this should be working. Alias string is default, which is correct. Ports is correct. Host is not correct. Let's see here. This should be host, ports, and generic DV. So everything about that should be standard. All right. I'm restart. I wonder why we're having so much trouble. Let's see here. I wish I knew why it was messing up. Okay, where is our friend web page? Here it is, web page doc. All right then, so that works. As soon as we create a connection, we can then do that, and we can find all our documents. So that works. I wonder. The local these two should be fine. Host and port. In fact, I'm gonna actually. How much do you bet that might be the problem? Host, port, and then this should be DB or no, that's not it. That's not it. That is correct. The first one is the database, then the username, password. Actually, yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So that should be fine. So let's do this. I'm gonna run this. Then let's go over here and run you. Now let's go to web page doc objects. And it throws an error, connection error. Okay, then let's go ahead and self.mongoservice. And we'll simply do a get connection. There we go. And now let's run that. And it has everything to do with my... Something's wrong with the service. Oh, what is wrong with the service? So this is where the problem lies. It is all... Everything else is fine except for the service. This. Now the question is why is this throwing an error? We run connect. We then do the connection here. Is it because of user and password? Could that be it? Alright, I have an idea. I'm going to do this first. If alias is equal to default, then we're just going to simply run a connect. We're just simply going to run or let's see here, we're just going to simply run connect. So this will be an else. So theoretically we're running this, but we're just going to run default. Literally, we're just going to run default. Like that. That way that connection will be established all the time. And it will be, nothing else is being put in there. Now, if we have everything else, then we will. And I'm going to go ahead and remove username and password just to be safe. There we go. Now let's run this. And I'm going to put down here at the bottom, just so that we can get it to, I don't have to type it in. Mongo service, there we go, get connection. And this will be, we'll call this default. There we go, we'll run that. Now that we have that set up, we will now try our base. Or we'll try our web, or where's our documents? Here. We just want to see if we can simply access the data. Objects. And it kind of worked. Okay then. Because I put it default down, it's going to hear where there is nothing. So that is working. Let's go to our service. Web service. We will run this. Self will equal web page service. Game facts. We should oh, okay, throws an error. So why? Unsupported operand. Mongo service and web page service. Okay. This happens to be in... Okay, where is this throwing an error? It looks like it's in the base document. Let me try that again. Oh, I see. I put a minus there. That's why. I put a minus there. Okay, there. Now, self dot find cache. And at least it was faster this time. Let's see here. Connection alias with GameFAQs is not defined. Okay, this is a GameFAQs is not defined. Okay. So that means we need to do the initialization. We did not initialize first, so we should do that. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll initialize. Oh. We'll initialize. Final is... There we go. Now we will initialize. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now let's try this again. Web service. Get cache. And it is timing out. This is an alias problem. Okay then, why are we timing out with the alias? This has to be a problem with the when I define alias. Okay then, we might have a lead into what is causing this. Let's see, where is it? Here? Okay. Let's see here, timeout when alias. So timeout when alias. MongoDB. Query timeouts, database manual. Here we go. This might tell us something. You can specify... Actually, no, that didn't tell us anything. Understanding how Mongo timeout works. The simplest... Actually, quick check. Let's see here. Mongo con dot connections. Actually, so that still works. Okay. Now if we go to, there it is, MongoCon. The connections are there. GameFAQs connection does exist. Do I need to? Let's see here. Anything special about it? No, nothing special. It looks almost identical to default. And we already established that default will actually, let's try something. Let's run this first. There we go. We established this connection. I should probably... Let's see here. Where is it? Where do we log? Here we go. We're logging it here. That's because of the initialization function. Congratulations. We're not logging you here anymore. We're going to log you here. And I noticed this is going to cause trouble. This should also be an if statement. So this should be if alias. So let's see here. If, actually, scratch that. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. This is only this isn't this is already just establishing a single connection. So so this will just be alias. Like so. Actually, if you think about it, we don't even need that there. We already had defined alias, so we can do that. There we go, like that. Because alias is going to be default. That is just what it is. So if I don't put anything in to connect, it should always pull out default. In fact, let's even put that right here, like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and run this. There we go. And there we have the two connections established. We established default and GameFAQs. All right. Now let's go to the web page service. Self is equal to web page service GameFAQs self dot get cache and self and it's a none. There's nothing there. But there should be. There should be a lot. And I mean a lot. If we go here, we're in the connection. We go to GameFAQs. This is the document. There should be a ton of data present. There should be more than we can count. So why is it that when we get the cache, it doesn't work? At least it's not timing out. That is a good sign. At least it's not timing out. Okay, let's go to get cache. Here we go, find cache. Switch this with the database name. Oh, I know. Let's go to self.database name. It is GameFAQs, there it is. GameFAQs, there it is, right there. I'm just doing a quick peek. So it should be fine. It should be there and then there. Last doc. Last document is Mongo. Yep, there it is. That is correct. Okay. And then we should just simply... this should be correct. Switch DB. All right. Yeah, this should be 110% correct. And we're timing out now. All right. So it didn't time out when we did that, but now it's timing out now. We're using the database name, which should be the same as the connection name. Maybe we need to pass in the connection? Let's go check that out in the documentation. It doesn't make much sense because we were doing this earlier. This is how we got pi working. This is exactly how we got pi working. All right then. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's just load up the document right now. Here we go. We'll just load the document up. I know I ran the initialization code, but we're just going to load this document up, right, from here. That way we're not... I wonder if it might involve this. I wonder if it might involve the fact that the instances are changing. If I call web page service and I'm calling that, then we're calling this instance. So I wonder if that might be what our problem is. Oh. I'm going in here. I'm going to change this to... I will have to change this back later. We're going to auto connect to Rom DB. There we go, initialized. We've connected to our database. We connected to defaults, which should be RomDB now. So now if I go to, let's load this up first, here, there. Web page doc.objects, there it is, objects. And it's empty, interesting. Let's go here and load it up here. Web page doc.objects, and it's still empty, which isn't why. RomDB, web page docs, it should, yeah, it has stuff. Not capitalized. We established our connections. Okay, when I try to run it in code, it just doesn't work. Yeah, when I just try to codify it, it's just not working. I can, if I do it manually, everything works fine, but when I try and run it in the code, it fails. I think maybe... I don't think it's that. I don't think it's... I do not think it's this. Let's see here. MongoDB connection. Connections. There's default and GameFAQs. Okay. So that's fine. We did establish that. But why is this not working? Hey, wait, just running this automatically established the default connection. Okay. Wait, it did not though. Wait a minute. I just ran connect RomDB and it was perfectly fine. One moment. I guess I can run this as many times as I want. Okay. Yeah, fine. Alright, well, either way, we established connection. Let's run this. And there it is. Okay. It has everything to do with this. Or run connects. Is it because I'm saving the connection, maybe? Is it could that be the reason? It seems a bit strange if that's the reason. It really is. Let's see here. When we run Mongo service, we check to see if this is in the registry. If it's not, then we'd set up our connection. We will run default. Oh. Registry that. I think that might be the problem. I think that might be the problem. Okay then. Let's see here. No, it's not the problem because we're setting it default. That cannot be the problem. Though that being said, this is going to... Let's see here. We run connect host port general DB. Yeah, that's going to... That should not be the problem. That really should not be. Because the generic is... We're putting in RomDB. All right. Okay then. Let's do, okay. All right. Run this. Run this. Web page docs. Objects. Okay, connected. All right, that works. Web page service. Run this. We're going to create this GameFAQs. Get cache. All right. And it's empty. Okay then. So let's see here. So we know that that should exist. So let's go to the base service now. So our class doc. So let's see here. We should be able to run this just fine. Switch. All right. And it times out. So it has to be the switch DB function. So this is definitely the problem, the switch DB. Let's go back over here to where we found it earlier. Let's see here. Here we go, right here. Yeah, I don't see what the problem is. With switchdb, we bring in our class object. We then assign the database that we want to connect to. We call it by a name. I'm calling it cursor. Maybe that might be a problem. Let's change it from cursor to something else. We'll call this, well, no, that can't be the problem. We query get the object, shadow. Okay, we'll call this the query list so that we won't be shadowing something. There we go. But nonetheless, that should still not be the problem. Okay then. With switchdb, this will be, let's see, this will be web page doc. We want to go to GameFAQs. There it is, DB alias, GameFAQs, as a dot objects. Let's see here, and we'll call this there, that. Then it has to deal with our connection. I'm going to pass in, I'm going to try and pass in the, I'm going to actually pass in the connection, but the daily, it should be a string. Literally, it should be a string. This is a string. This is a string too. These are all strings. Where's switchdb? Where's, here we go. Okay, switchdb. Let's see here. What do you say? SwitchDB, DB alias. SwitchDB alias context manager. That doesn't, the name of the specific database to use. That's what we're doing. The class to change the registered DB. That is what we're doing. We're doing everything that it tells us to. So why is it throwing an error? Let's see here. How about we try this then? Where is our connection? Here. When this is creating a new instance. So yeah, when we create a new instance, we're going to create a connection. Oh. When we do not, here's the registry. We then create a default connection, which is right here. This works fine. Then here we have our host, our port, and our alias. The alias is going to be the name of our list. So that's this right here. When we initialize, we're putting in our host, the host, the port, and the generic database. And then we're using the alias. Let's see, let me check something. It might be how I'm using connect. That might be it. It might be something as simple as I'm using connect wrong. Let's see here. We have this, we put in our database. Yeah, there's that, our host, our host, our port, host and port, multiple databases right here. We can put in a default alias. We're not doing that. We're trying to, here we go, another DB with alias equals DB1. And here we go, we connect, if we call it a DB, alias is DB1. Wait, could that be the issue? Could that be the issue? I think I might know what the problem is. It is a problem on my end, but I think I might be pointing too many things to default, because that's technically not the database. It would be hilarious if the major core problem is because of, again, one simple line of code. Okay then. There we go. Okay, that's still not working for some reason. Did I mess up the get cache function? Yes, I did. I should be putting find cache. Okay then, find cache, please. I would really love it if you would find the cache for me. And there we go. Okay. And it's throwing an error. All right. Okay then. So yeah, that's, remember, get cache, find cache. It's still throwing the error, which is causing trouble, but at least we're here. So we're still getting a timeout. I'm going to type in webpagedoc.objects. There we go. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this. So now it's still throwing this error. So it's still involving this. All right, let's go with host, port, schema. This is technically not schema anymore. This is actually the database. So let's go ahead and rename this to DB name. All right then. And then here we go with the database, our host, our port, and our alias. So those should all be fine. I'm going to go ahead and put these in here. because eventually we'll be changing these. So this needs to be there. All right. So everything is looking fine. So if we want to initialize, we're going to see if our connections exist. If they exist, we're just going to forget about them. If they don't, then we will make a connection. We will put in our host, our port, the database name, and the alias name. Database name will be connected to database, and the alias name I should probably keep the same, but actually that might be one of the problems too. Because DB name here we set to generic DB. When I initialize, we're not changing that. I think I'm going to change that. Congratulations, you are no longer going to be generic. We don't need you anymore. In fact, we don't need alias anymore. Alias, you're the one causing trouble. Get out of here. You're fired. You're fired. There. Okay, then. What is this complaining about? Unexpected arguments. Oh yeah, because that doesn't exist anymore. There we go. Okay, let's try this now. Again, it's been what, 3 hours, and I'm still trying to debug this. Oh my. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Self is equal to that. We're still getting the timeout error. Okay then. The question is why? Everything should be fine. Alias is the same, database is the same. We're using the same nomenclature, so that should not be a problem. But yeah, it's still throwing out a complaint. Let's see here. Localhost, temporary failure, resolution. Connection failure. Unknown server. Server type, unknown. How is that unknown? How is it unknown? We are passing in the is localhost and okay. Let's get rid of those real quick. Let's just get rid of the port and the host altogether. Okay then. I might have to change. I might have to actually set it that we're passing in an exact string. I think I might have to do that, because right now, if you see, I'm just trying to fill it in, and it keeps messing up. But I might have to change this. All right, initialize, run that. No, not find cache. Self.get cache. It is that. Why is this? Yeah, okay, it's working now. So why is port and host? Why are these two why is it hast? Why does it say hast? Don't tell me it's because of a typo. The mini box will go fly. I will send the mini box off into the far beyond. It will figure out the ability to fly if this single typo is the exact problem that I've been trying to solve this entire time. Okay then, let's run that. Let's run this. It, oh my, oh my. That better not be it. Oh, I want to. Oh, okay. All right, okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, okay. This is called sitemap. Okay, then let's go with 1. We're doing it look. Oh, okay. It is a typo. A typo has been causing us nothing but misery this entire 2 hours. Okay then. That is so painful. That is so very painful. Okay, it's working now. We have an initialization function. We can now switch our databases. Oh. So now all we have to do is we have to just run this. We need to write a function here. This will be called the main base. I will have to run that. Well, actually, I don't know if I actually really need to do that. I will have to figure it out. The main thing is I need to run this Mongo connection somewhere. Oh, there will be a project setup stage at the beginning. So what I can do is I can put that there, and then all I have to do is worry about just initializing things. If I set initialize as a default, then I can simply just call Mongo connection, or set that as a class. Then I can do that. Okay, it is now 7. I need to hop off. That typo. That typo, it wasted so much time. We're going to put down a to-do here. Check for typos. All right then, check for typos. But we've done it. All right. We have ourselves a working switching engine that we can save data to. Now, every time we want to run this, we have the service. Now, every time I run a scraper, let's go over to our scrapers. Here we go. Let's go to our ROM hacking net scraper. Here we go. There it is, right there. I'm gonna have to rename these. I don't like the nomenclature here, but if we go here, we go to romhacking.net. If you remember, we set up a save function here, and originally we were just calling .save. So instead, what we're going to do here is we're going to store this. So this will be self.save, or to save. And this will be the doc.id. And then from here, we'll then put doc, like that. And then from here, we'll then go doc, or not doc, but self.save. Actually, I think we should have web page service. There we go. .save. And then from here, we will have a save function. So this is going to be up here. This will be save docs. Or we'll just call it save. Or we'll just call it save. And then from here, we'll run this. And what we'll simply do is we will go with save dot to save dot values. There. Let's see here. Expected a list type. Instead, we got a... Actually, this should be a list. Oh, yeah. This should be because we pass in values. To save list. And this should be a list of web page docs. Yeah, it's because it's a dictionary. It's wanting to output a dictionary values. So I'm just going to list this so that it will keep the typing correct. And then we'll pass this into here. There we go. And from here, we will then run save. Because we initialized our web page service because we're initializing our web page service using the database that we're going to go access. So for our scraper, we're going to be accessing GameFAQs, like so, like that. There we go. Nice. Or this is ROM hacking, isn't it? Yeah, this is ROM hacking. So we'll call this RomDB for now. But there we go. We initialize. All right, why are you... Oh, typo. That's fine. So we initialize our service. Nice. We then start running in. We extract our data. And then when we're done, we then use said service to save. Because the service has been initialized with... because the service here has been initialized with a database name, that pretty much means that it will go point directly to that. If we initialize this without a name, it will go to default. So we'll have to, yeah, that way we won't lose the data if we accidentally don't put something in. But it does mean that we will have to transfer it later, but nonetheless, that's good. And then here we go. We have git collection, or git or create documents. We need to pass that over into the ROM hacking scraper as well. So where is our create document? Oh, we already have that there. And yeah, all right, we already have it all situated. Perfect. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. So our scraper is set, and we have the save function. All right then. Now that we have it set, every other scraping instance we can use. So repurpose to download recent pages. We did that right here. There we go. We did that. We have our save function. We have all of our extractions. Here we go. Add if statement that looks if the prior extracted data. If found, then quit loop. We need to add that in later. This is our operations manager. Okay, let's get to PyCharm. There it is, PyCharm projects. Oh, let's get to CRC. Let's get to the source code. Git add, we'll add everything. Git commit message. Fix typo. Oh boy, fix typo in localhost or in localhost. Stopping connection. Update Mongo or that was that one. So update scraper. Yeah, update scraper to save to appropriate database. There we go. And that's actually all we did. There we go. Okay. Nice. Oh. There we go. And we don't need to worry about the others. and credentials we're not tracking. So I have to delete that. But there we go. Finally, we solved it. We figured out the problem. It was a typo. A painful, painful typo. But at least it's done. With that being said, it's now 7. I need to hop out. I need to go grocery shopping. My fridge is empty. And I need to scrape a few pennies so I can go buy some food. Until then, everyone have a good one. We'll continue working on this. Oh, I wonder if I can continue working on it tomorrow. We'll find out. Either way, have a good one, everyone. Have a good morning. Have a good night. Wherever you may be, have a good one. Laters.